Hi, welcome, beautiful, beloved souls. This is a commentary channel. Sometimes I do PowerPoints and content varies. I don't have any specific niche. I cover anything and everything about life and about death, although I look at it through a lens. The lens, L-E-N-S, of Gem. Now, my name is Gem, as I've just explained, Gem with a J, Gem Stone, and I'm a psychic medium and I'm an author. And I want to just promote my latest book, which won't be available for a couple of days, although the ebook's available from Amazon, and it's called Haunting, a Gentle Guide to Internal and External Disturbance. Now, yesterday we discussed internal haunting. Internal haunting is when you are haunted by memories, loss, mistakes, grief, trauma, etc. In other words, it's internal, it's inside your mind. Although you can experience similar signs that happen when you are externally haunted. Now, this video is going to look at external haunting explained, presence, possession, and what to do calmly. Now, when people talk about haunting, this is usually what they mean. External presence, something outside of themselves. They usually talk about ghosts, but as we'll see, there are a variety of different entities that can haunt you. External haunting is often misunderstood, exaggerated, or confused with possession. That confusion can create fear where none is needed and sometimes lead people to make things worse rather than better. So in this video, I want to talk calmly about what external haunting actually is, how it differs from possession, what can be haunted, what types of entities are reported, and most importantly, how to respond without escalating fear or harm. This is not about proving belief. It's about helping people assess what's happening and to respond safely. Haunting versus possession, a critical difference. Let's start with the most important distinction, haunting. A haunting involves presence, not control. A haunting may be felt, may be seen, may be heard, may be sensed emotionally or energetically, but it does not override free will. The person remains themselves. Possession. Possession, as popularly imagined, is extremely rare and often misattributed. True possession would involve loss of agency, sustained personality change, ongoing inability to control actions or speech, severe stress and dysfunction. Most cases labelled as possession are actually mental health crisis, trauma responses, disassociation, cultural or religious interpretation of distress. This distinction matters because treating haunting like possession often causes panic and harm. Let's look at signs of external haunting. External haunting is typically environmental, not invasive. Commonly reported signs include repeated unexplained sounds, objects moving slightly or going missing, sensations of being watched in specific locations, cold or heavy areas in a space, sometimes warm, sometimes you can feel, usually it is cold, but sometimes the atmosphere may be warm, emotional shifts tied to a place rather than person, recurrent experiences shared by multiple people. Importantly, these experiences are often consistent. They are usually location specific. They don't follow the person everywhere. If something follows you constantly across environments, internal causes should be assessed first. So, in other words, you may be being internally haunted. Like I explained, the internally haunting, you can have the same signs as an external haunting. Always consider first how you are feeling. Are you tired? Are you stressed? Are you overloaded? Please see my video yesterday that I uploaded. It talks about internal haunting. But usually an external haunting, you don't experience this everywhere. Okay, what can be haunted? External haunting is rarely random. It attaches to place, memory, or symbolism. Sometimes I have trouble with words. Please forgive me. That happens because I live as a widow. I don't see people sometimes for days. So your tongue can get a bit lazy. Anyway, let's have a look at the types of things that can be haunted. Land that has witnessed conflict, trauma, sudden death, long-term suffering. Examples include battlefields, hospitals, prisons, old age homes, and disaster sites. This is often described as residual haunting, like an echo, not a consciousness. So, what else can be haunted? Homes and buildings. Structures can carry emotional residue, habitual patterns, unresolved attachment, especially older homes or places where intense life events occurred repeatedly. I often, when I go and do medium work, I look at a haunting, especially residual hauntings, as like I compare it to as a person once lived there, and the residual haunting is like a cigarette that they've smoked and it's got into the walls. Or another example is like the place is trapped in time and just repeatedly plays that memory or photograph. Let's look what else is haunted. Objects. Objects associated with strong emotional bonds, repetitive use, ritual significance. So it could be jewelry, it could be a doll, it could be any inanimate object. This doesn't mean every antique is haunted. It means meaning matters. What else is haunted? People. Now, people are rarely haunted in the external sense. What is more common is sensitivity. People who are empaths, intuitives, sensitive, psychics, mediums, etc. So usually you have a sensitivity. Just on that, before we continue about people, two people can be in the same room, and one, say, is science-based, and the same things will happen, but the one who's sensitive will see it, and the one who is science-based may not see what is happening. So the other thing with people when they're haunted is emotional openness, unresolved grief, or strong empathy. Like I explained, sensitive people may notice more, and this is not the same as being invaded. So it's not the same as being possessed. Right, let's look at entities that are commonly reported that do the haunting. Without sensationalizing, reports tend to fall into categories. Human spirits, or as we call them, ghosts, and they're often confused, attached, or unresolved. These are not inherently dangerous. They may have not even realized that they have died. Ethical treatment applies here. Force escalates confusion. So what does that mean? Never force a spirit. Never force a spirit to do anything. Acknowledge them, and also you don't have to act. You can just ignore it if you want. You can accept it, but if you do act in a way that is ethical. Don't force. I just want to talk about a personal experience here before we go on, and that was I was married to a Catholic, and being sensitive myself, being a medium, spirits would follow me home, and my ex-Catholic husband would get a cross and force them, and that is harmful. That's why I talk about ethical. These spirits are not demons. Let's continue with the types of entities that haunt. We have residual presence, and these are not conscious. They're like a recording playing back. Like I told you, smoke gets into the walls or a photograph and it just is on loop and repeats. And no interaction is possible because there is no awareness. It just replays an event. But this is not ghosts. The other type of haunting is environmental or energetic phenomena. Electromagnetic fields, infrasound, structural vibration. Science and experience often overlap here. Let's now look at non-human entities. Now, the non-human entities, can be shadow people, can be alien, fae. By fae, we mean fairies, elves, gnomes, brownies, etc. And there is also so-called demons, the Christian demons, and this is often, in my opinion, a dark player. But non-human entities are rare, poorly understood, and often mislabeled. So they often get entitled that they're demonic. This is fear-based assumptions which tend to exaggerate these encounters. Most experiences attributed here resolve once fear is removed. So, if you have something that you fear is dark, you can do several things. You can, and we'll get onto this later, you can ignore, you can laugh at it, treat it like a bully. And if you laugh or ignore, usually it will die down. Fear feeds fear, negativity feeds negativity. All right, let's continue. The dangers of forcing. Remember I said before, never force a spirit? We're going to look into this. So this is the dangers of forcing, blessing, and religious aggression. This part matters deeply. Some belief systems teach that all spirits are evil and must be driven away. This approach can escalate activity, increase fear, cause psychological harm, distress human spirits or ghosts, reinforce panic in the living. Aggressive blessings, shouting, commanding, or cursing create confrontation, and confrontation feeds disturbance. Protection does not require hostility. Calm authority is far more effective than fear-based ritual. So, what actually helps? Let's look at calm solutions. First, do not panic. Fear amplifies experience. If something is external, panic gives it more emotional energy. Fear feeds it. Second, ground the living. Before addressing anything unseen, stabilize yourself. How can you stabilize yourself? There are a few things you look at. Sleep, having good sleep. Nutrition, a well-balanced diet. Emotional regulation. Stress reduction. A calm nervous system perceives more accurately. Third, set neutral boundaries. Simple, calm statements work best. This space is not available for disturbance. You are not permitted to remain here. In other words, say simple, calm, with calm intent to anything negative or dark. You simply say, this space is not available for disturbance. Or, you are not permitted to remain here. Remember, it has to be calm, not fear, not panicky, not shouting. No threats, no drama. Fourth, cleansing with intent. So the tools you can use are sage, bells, incense, prayer, or even silence. The tool is symbolic intent, INTENT, is what matters most. Fifth, ethical acknowledgement. If you sense a human spirit or even an animal spirit, acknowledge without engaging. Suggest help. So when you suggest help, talk up to them that their loved ones or guidance if they want it. So suggest that you will ask their loved ones or their guides to help them, but never force to move on. So do not force movement. Do not assume obligation. Also remember, you don't have to do anything if you don't want. 6. Seek outside help if needed. Depending on the belief system, what you can seek the different types of help are mental health professionals, environmental assessment, paranormal investigators, spiritual advisors who are calm and non-aggressive. Avoid anyone who escalates fear. In closing, reflection. External haunting is not a battle. It is not proof of evil. It is not a test of faith. Most disturbances revolve when fear is removed and boundaries are calmly asserted. You are not required to engage. You are not required to cleanse endlessly. You are not required to even believe. Discernment is your greatest protection. Thank you very much, beautiful beloved souls, for listening, and I hope this has helped you. Please cherish every moment. Be kind to each other and to yourselves. Remember, I will be away from next Tuesday/Wednesday to the end of the month. So please look after yourselves. Love, light, and blessings. And please drop a comment below. Is there anything else you need to know? Or have you had an experience with external hauntings? I would love to read your stories. Bye.